Hi everybody, it's Chris and welcome back to another video. I thought I'd do something very slightly different today, and that's just share with you some recommendations of songs that I think you should try and track down, stream, whatever you do, from one particular artist, and that person's Rory Gallagher. So Irish guitarist, previously in a three-piece called Taste, did a couple of albums with them and then went on to be a solo artist. From about 1970 through to the mid-90s, where and sadly he died having had a liver transplant. Now, the reason for this is because I haven't bought many albums recently, and so I've been just playing some of the albums that I have, and I've been playing quite a lot of blues. And I came across an album which I think I've shown in the past, but I came across this one, Albert King Live. Really nice live blues album, actually. And Rory Gallagher features on here. In fact, he plays on a couple of songs. He certainly plays on, I think it's Jam in A flat, and he also plays on As the Years Go Passing By. It has a solo, actually, the first solo on that. And so that was really enjoyable. And then just by accident, really, I also played this one, the London Muddy Water Sessions. Really good album by Muddy Waters. Features a whole host of other players as well. Mitch Mitchell, for example, is on here, as is, of course, Rory Gallagher. And he does a couple of, or involved in a few tracks here. I think this was a, incredibly influential time in Rory Gallagher's career, actually. He learnt an enormous amount from Muddy Waters, and he plays definitely on the track called I'm Ready as well as others. And I'm Ready also features on this album, which is where I went to next. Now, this came out probably about 2018, 2019. Wonderful blues album. I think Rory Gallagher actually is best when he's playing the blues, actually, and this is a really good example. If you've never heard this, it's worth streaming. It's certainly worth buying, actually, if you can find it. The vinyl version is shorter than the CD version, so if you collect both formats, it might be worth getting the CD version of it. But wonderful blues stuff. And he was a wonderful player. So that led me on to playing some of his back catalogue. And I'm not going to give an in-depth kind of biography of Rory Gallagher. I'll leave that to AllMusic or Wikipedia or other people's rankings video. I'm just going to share with you one or two songs from all of his albums leading up to his final one in about 94, 95. So his first solo album is Rory Gallagher from 1970, I think it is. Laundromat opens, great song. It became a staple kind of live track. But I Fall Apart is just a wonderful song. Not heard it? Stream it. It's fantastic. The second album, a little bit more polished than that one. Still quite Taste-like in its sound. Used to Be opens the album, and In Your Town opens Side 2. Really, really great songs. But the best song on here for me is the one that closes. It's called Crest of a Wave. Three guys playing on this album, obviously Rory Gallagher, Jerry McAvoy, who was with Rory for most of his career, actually, and a drummer called Wilger Campbell. And it's just three musicians in absolute harmony. It's a wonderful song, great stuff. Next up is a live album. Many people see this live in Europe as his definitive album, actually. And he was certainly at his best live, I think. I remember seeing him in 1980 on the Stage Struck tour. And I've seen lots of fantastic guitarists, Angus Young, Richie Blackmore, Alex Lifeson, Robin Trower. I've seen lots of Gary Moore. I've seen lots of blues players and lots of really good rock guitarists. This guy was different. I kind of didn't get him until I saw him live. But when I saw him live, it's like the guitar is literally part of him. It's really difficult to describe. His playing just looks unbelievably effortless. And it sounds effortless on here as well. So Laundromat, Messing with the Kid, which opens the album, is fantastic. Bullfrog Blues, an old song, but it's wonderful. I've got a CD by him that's down in the garage where I keep most of my CDs, actually, called Live in San Francisco, which has got a better version, I think, of Bullfrog Blues, but a really, really good album. Next up was Blueprint. A couple of songs on here that I really like. Walk on Hot Coals, which became a live favourite of his, which is a great. Daughter of the Everglades is fantastic as well. But Race the Breeze I also really like. Some people like The Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, but it doesn't quite float my boat in the same way as those other three. So that's Blueprint. Next up is Tattoo. Lots of people love this album. I do love this album. And I think one of the reasons people do really rate it is because it has on side 2, the third track, probably one of Rory Gallagher's greatest moments, and it's called A Million Miles Away. It's a beautiful song. Certainly, if you've not heard it, it's worth streaming. Tattoo Lady and Cradle Rock are wonderful. So, yeah, there's Tattoo. I'm not sure which year that's from, probably 73, I would have thought. This is another seen as a definitive Rory Gallagher album, and again, it's a live one. This is Irish Tour 74. Not many bands were touring Ireland in that time during the Troubles. Just, they were just too scared to. He always toured Northern Ireland, to his credit, and this is a wonderful album. It's got, I Wonder Who, a really great track, definitive version of it. As the Crow Flies, A Million Miles Away is a great version. Walk on Hot Coals, definitely the definitive version of that. Great album, again, shows someone at the height of their powers. Followed up that with this one, which is Against the Grain. So I think this is 75, possibly. I think this is his last album or penultimate album on Chrysalis Records. Couple of songs on here I really like, actually. I think it's got one of my favourite songs by him, and that's Souped Up Ford. It's just brilliant. It's really, it is how it sounds. It's quite upbeat, very upbeat. And it just races through. I don't know how long it is. It seems quite long, but it's a wonderful song. And the other track I really like is All Around Man. So that's those two tracks really worth seeking out. Next up is an album that's often seen as one of his best ones. I don't necessarily agree, but there's some great tracks on it. It's Calling Card. And on here we've got, I think the first side is considerably better than the second. And the songs in the middle of the first side are just wonderful. Country Mile, Moonchild, and the title track Calling Card, which is wonderful. It's slightly jazzy, it's great. So those three, Country Mile, Moonchild, Calling Card, worth listening to. Next up from 78, and I remember this in 78 because this is the first time I'd really heard Rory Gallagher, because I bought the 10-inch single with Shadow Play. This also has Brute Force and Ignorance, which is on the album I'm about to show, backed with Moonchild, which I've mentioned already, and Souped Up Ford. So that was my kind of introduction to Rory Gallagher. And it wasn't until a few years later, actually, after I saw him live, that I bought the album Photo Finish. This is a great album. It's obviously got Shadow Play on it, which is great. He's starting to get a little bit rockier, I think, in these albums. Say slightly less bluesy. The track I love on here, and it's really like double time quick, it's Last of the Independents. Fantastic song. So that's Photo Finish from 78. I think this must be 79 therefore, and he's just getting a little bit rockier. So this is Top Priority. So opens with Follow Me, which is just brilliant. It's quite a rocky track, actually. Wayward Child is wonderful as well, and Just Hit Town is great. But my favourite song probably on this album is Bad Penny, which is the track that opens side 2. So 4 really good songs from a really good album. Now this was the time where I saw Rory Gallagher, so on the Stage Struck tour. This has got Wayward Child, Brute Force and Ignorance, Moonchild, Follow Me, Last of the Independent, Shadow Play, just louder and faster. It's almost too rocky, and one of the things that I remember from him live is a lot of the songs are really, really upbeat, and occasionally we get a slow blues and occasionally we get an acoustic number, but the majority was really, really upbeat. So that's Stage Struck, and I'm kept the program as well from that particular time as well. So good album, not his best live album, but good album. Probably Follow Me is my favourite from that. Next up is, I think, On Certain Days is my favourite album by him, actually. On certain days, and other days it's others, but it's this one, Jinx. So this is from, I think, I'm going to say 1980, but I might be, no, 81, might be wrong there, not sure. Couple of tracks on here that I would certainly recommend. Signals opens the album, is a good track, as is Big Guns. The title track Jinx is good, and Bourbon is good as well. So some good songs on what is often my favourite Rory Gallagher album. His last couple of albums, this is on Capo Records. I think this is his penultimate album. I'm doubting myself, but anyway. here we are, Defender. Starts with a song which called Kickback City, which sounds a bit kind of Bad Company-esque actually, but Lone Shark Blues, the volume comes down a little bit and I think the quality goes up there. But the track I really like on here is called Continental Op. That's a great track. So that's worth listening out for. And the last one is Fresh Evidence, which I think is again on Capo Records. This is a good album actually. Yeah, it's got some filler on it, but it kind of was so sad. He wouldn't have realised this was going to be his last album, and he shows, talent that still had something to give, and Ghost Blues and Heaven's Gate and The Loop are great songs from his final album. So there you go, some recommendations for songs that I think you should possibly try and seek out by Rory Gallagher. Thanks very much, folks, and we'll catch up again really soon. Cheers.